All right, I know you guys like to watch a little bit, so here's what I'm doing now with this Highlander grog. I literally pour it into this measuring cup and pour half of it into the coffee filter here, and I make 2 pots with 1 bag. Seems to be working out pretty good. It's a good mixture. I'll just put this back up over here on the shelf, up on the top here where I put things, and we'll add some water now into my $10 Walmart coffee maker. You guys know what I'm gonna do next? Miss T's not here to disturb. Ha ha! Look at that. That's how you do it. You can put a bunch of those in your garbage without worrying about overflowing. That's how you do it. You learn all kinds of tips and tricks on this channel. So I've got to go back over to Fred and Rafaela's this morning. I got to tell you what happened. Do you know that TVs are measured in their size this way? Diagonally, not across. So Fred's TV went on the blink, and so they decided to buy another one. So they went down and bought one, but first he measured. And then yesterday they asked me to come over and help them get the Wi-Fi going, you know, and download the apps and the things that they like that they're not so techie about. So I was glad to help them out. Plus Rafaela fed me and made some great tuna salad and some cookies, and we caught up on some stuff, and it's just great being back here in Sarasota next to my good friends to visit all the time. These are some wonderful people for sure, as well as many of you out there that I've had the pleasure of making the acquaintance. I've been corrected about saying that incorrectly. I have a lot of words I say incorrectly. I'm not perfect. But anyway, we got the TV. I got over there to help them out. We took it out of the box, and it was a lot smaller than the one that broke. And Fred was very disappointed, and he didn't want to trouble me about coming back, and he didn't want to have to take it back. I said, Fred, don't worry about it. You know, when your TV fries, that's the opportunity to get a bigger one. You definitely don't want to go down. So I found another one online that's being delivered to their house this morning, and it's much bigger, and it's going to fit no problem where they keep their TV. And I'm going to go over there this morning, and we're all very excited about it to get the new TV. And by the way, it's made by Hisense. I've had a few Hisense TVs. I was introduced to them from a guy that worked at Best Buy. And I think if I remember right, the story goes that Hisense used to be Sharp. Remember that company? Sharp calculators and Sharp products. Anyway, been around a while, and I know some other people that have the Hisense too, and they're very happy with them over the Samsung and everything else. They bought an LG, and they have an LG. I think this is an LG. And LG is kind of unique too. They have their own TV channel guide. Some of them, well, you have to have the internet to get those channels. So if it's a smart TV. But what's great about the Hisense that we got coming is Fred and his wife, back in the day, you remember Roku's? You could buy this thing in the box. You got a remote control, and it had a little thing, and you would stick it on the bottom of your TV, and you would plug it into the HDMI, and you got Roku. You know, it was loaded with apps, and it had other things on there. And now Roku, you know, you see it when you go to Walmart and Best Buy and Costco and places that sell TVs, that it says Roku inside. You know, it's built into the TV. So you don't have to buy a little gadget and all that. But you can add Roku. Well, this one has it in there, this Hisense. It's a 4K. It's 58 inches. And they had a 48 or a 40, yeah, 48. And when he measured it across the top, it measured 43. So he bought a 43-inch TV. Oh, wait a minute. Whatever he did, when we took it out of the box, it was smaller than what he had. So we got a 58 coming. And it's a Hisense. And I'm going to help him put it together this morning. So anyway, that's what's going on there. What else was I saying? I know one thing. It's the best cup of coffee I ever drank in my life. You got to get this Highlander grog. But I'm going to make some bacon and eggs now. And, I wanted to talk a little bit about what it's like being back in Florida. And, you know, this is going to be a very frank, honest review. You ready? I love it. I'm a Florida boy. I grew up in West Palm Beach. I was class of 77, Lake Worth High School. And my kids were born here. I'm from here. I've been here most of my life. I lived in California. I lived in Atlanta a dozen years. The whole time I lived there, I was down here a lot to get my fill of the beach. I'd go to Panama City too. And I've traveled quite a bit in my life, back and forth across the country, living in San Diego and back in Florida when I was very young. But I was in the car business. I had my own business for 33 years. Part of the time in California as well, both in the car business and my personal business. But I was much younger. And so most of my adult life and my senior life has been right here. And recently when I went back to California and out west to Utah and Arizona and New Mexico and all across this country, I learned two things. One, I love those places. I love the desert. I love the mountains. I love this coffee. And I like to go there and visit and then turn right around and come back home. And even though this is a melting pot of a place and it's got 23 million people and it's basically like 3 million people moved here. Sorry, that coffee's, you should smell it. It smells great. 3 million people have moved here since the pandemic. It's basically like LA moved to South Florida. It's been spread out all over Florida, but mostly South Florida on the East Coast and the West Coast has seen a tremendous increase in population and growth and cost of living and houses, and we know all that. What good does it do to hash it out? Okay? It is what it is. Get you guys a little bit higher. There we go. So, put a little more cream in my coffee. Just a little. And let's get this in. We know we have to raise the lid or it'll spill. Oh, look at that golden, dark, delicious looking coffee. Oh, the smell of Highlander grog with some hazelnut creamer. Here's to all 140,000 beautiful souls out there watching the channel. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that is good. Folks, that's the best cup of coffee I ever drank in my life. God, it's good. I love coffee. And I love Florida. I'm glad to be back here after traveling across the country. And I have to tell you this. This is not crushing it for Christ, but I'm going to tell you something about religion and God and faith and all that before we continue on. He knows your life. And I went through a period over the last month or two of uncertainty. You know, where I was going to live, what I was going to do, what was the best thing for me, leaving Florida. And he, you know, there's an old saying, if you want to make God laugh, you just tell him what your plans are. He's like, oh, no. Well, we're not, no, not going to happen. Just like when you think you want to do something, your parents tell you, no, you're not. So he let me run off, and not chase my tail, but have some fun. And California was nice to see again, and enough to know that I wouldn't live there again. But that weather was sure great, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. But it's too expensive. And this isn't far behind it, but I've got a niche of the way I live that's affordable, and I have no debt. And this is what I promote in my videos is, you know, being a minimalist and having low debt or no debt. And if you're on Social Security, get a little side hustle and enjoy your life, because nobody's promised tomorrow. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm living out exactly what I planned on doing, and I'm not even thinking about changing. I got back here just a couple of weeks ago or so, right? And I started looking around for apartments and homes and mobile homes and different things like that. And while the search continues, that is good. And while the search continues, it's not going to happen. I'll continue doing this until further notice, because it's not just disheartening. I can afford it, especially in a collaboration with someone. But why do I want to draw my money down? Just keep drawing it down to give away. When you rent and don't own, I know the story, you know, you don't own it. But today it's cheaper to rent than to buy. I mean, think about it. You buy something, you're going to pay $500,000. You got 8% interest rate. The air conditioning, the roof, anything that happens is on you. Versus calling a landlord and paying some rent. And while there is a certain value you get by handing over money to a landlord for a roof over your head, you know, you do get that, even though you don't own it. You receive that value, but it's not enough value for what you can rent for $2,000. It's like, I don't want to live in this. I don't want to live in that neighborhood. I don't want to be in that small of square feet for that much money. I'm not receiving enough value for all these hundreds you want me to hand over to you every 30 days. So it ain't going to happen. I don't have to do it, and I'm not going to do it. And people that are in a position where they don't have any other choices, if they can't go back and live with a relative or their parents or roommate or whatever the situation is, and they're having to fork this over, or they're in a place they got raised up, you know, they're still there and they're having to pay the landlord a lot of money. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's horrible. But before I don't want to make this negative, but you know, we all know that things are expensive, and things may change, and they can change overnight, and then they may not change. Nobody's got a crystal ball, but I do believe there's going to be a correction, and soon, because I don't think it's sustainable myself. But I love being here. Is it hot? Hell yeah. Is it humid? Oh gosh. Yesterday I about died hitting some golf balls over at this driving range, and I was wringing wet. When I got over to Fred's house to help him out with the TV, Rafaela had to give me a shirt, and she washed my other one for me. And but I am in Florida. It is green. It is beautiful. It's dotted with golf courses. We have the Keys. We have Disney. We've got East Coast and West Coast that are only about 150 to 200 miles across to go to either side. You've got Daytona. You have all of this that we know Florida has to offer. It's a tourist state. We have no state sales tax. We have no state tax. So there's a lot of good about Florida, and that's probably why I've been here for so many years. Did I like Utah and Vegas and Bullhead City? I sure do. Could I live there? I sure could. But I choose to be here. But that doesn't mean that I can't go back there. And that's really, what I would want to do, and I've talked about it many times, is living maybe 3 places a year. I mean, just think about it. If you were fortunate enough to say, well, I'm here, but in a couple of months, I'm going to be over there, and I was there before and I liked it. And then, you know, a few months later, I'm going to be over there, and then I'm going to come back here. And so you have a lot to look forward to. Just like the cruise that I'm going on soon. You know, you got something to look forward to. And that's what keeps us happy and excited and young. And so, you know, I'm getting my exercise. I can go outside any time of the year here and walk and do that kind of thing. Hit the gym up and barbecue out. Do we have hurricanes? Yeah. Do we get them over here? No, not really. There hasn't been one in 100 years that's hit Sarasota. It hit Fort Myers and, you know, south of here. And then they had some that kind of brushed over in the Tampa area that came over that way. But Sarasota hasn't had a direct hit in over 100 years. They say they've got this protection that the Indians back in the day put over this place. It's an old saying that they have here. So while there's a lot of old area in Sarasota County, Manatee County, Sarasota County, there's a lot of new. I mean, the development has been, I mean, crazy. I've shown you some videos. When you go east out towards 75, Lakewood Ranch, all that area, it's completely new. Everything's built up. Just like Henderson, Nevada was outside of Vegas. That's a beautiful city right there. I recommend Henderson to anyone. All you have to do is be gone 2 months of the year, just like here, July and August. If you can just get out of there and get out of here and come back, you would never hate on there. You would never hate on here because you would not have to deal. It's going to be quite warm and humid still, plenty of the time of the year here, but nothing like July and August. I mean, gosh, it's just murder. That's still the best cup of coffee I ever drank in my life. So, we're going to make some videos and show you guys some areas around here if you'd like to move here, like everybody else. And we're going to continue to search for a residence. But until something breaks, we might just buy out our time and just keep doing what we're doing with this beautiful camper. And every month that I stay in it and don't pay $2,000 rent to someone is like giving me back, I mean, $1,000 at least every month versus what I have to pay to live in it on somebody's private property or a campground or whatever. I'm not paying $2,000 a month. So, you know, I've already received over $10,000 of my money back that I gave for this because I've lived in it. And so pretty soon I won't owe it a thing, just like that wolf pup I had that I lived in for 2 years. And this is what I'm trying to promote and show. Single guys, single women, or couples that are retired that want to live a simpler life. And the reason I promote that and even say get yourself an RV is because a lot of people today are doing this. I mean, I saw going across this country thousands of people in mobile homes and in RVs in mobile home parks. And they're not broke. They have money. They're just trying to be smart with their money. They have sold a home or they've done something to afford them a less expensive way of living. And the fact that it has wheels on it and you can go to different places for very inexpensive amount of money. And they've gone up. They've gone up a lot. Campgrounds, RV parks, these places, they're all owned by corporations now. And they've raised the prices. I mean, you used to be able to stay somewhere like a campground for $200, $300, $400 a month, where now it costs you $700, $800, $1,000 a month. But that's still a damn sight cheaper than $2,000 a month for an efficiency apartment with palmetto bugs walking around. Yeah. And it's quiet, it's clean, and people are respectful. And, you know, not all of them, but most of them, you know, are 55 and older. and they have activities and clubhouses and things with karaoke and what do you call that? When everybody brings a dish and you can eat. They get together and get acquainted. People are they're like-minded because they all have an RV, either a fifth wheel or a Class A or a Class C or a tag-along, towable like I have, and potluck is what I'm trying to say. And they like to get together, and you make some great friends. And I like this making of friends, because when I have met a lot of my community through YouTube, that I would have never met these people had it not been for this YouTube thing. There's some great people out there, and you don't get anything out of them other than their love and friendship. And that's what you give them. And that support and friendship and kind words and socializing is so good to keep someone healthy and happy and feeling loved, that when you are younger, a lot of people, they don't know too many people. They know people they work with. They come home, they hit the garage door button, they come in, the garage goes down. They don't even know their neighbor's name. They don't talk to anybody. They're all texting. They don't even make phone calls anymore and talk to people. And people that are getting older, that are on Social Security and retired, they love getting out and talking with one another face to face and meeting each other at these activities that they create. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. And, you can partake as much of it or as little of it as you want. But my life in the last 3 years has grown in the retirement life of different aspects. I started out living over there in Boynton Beach, and then I went to Jacksonville, and I traveled around the country, and now I'm back here. And each leg and each step of the way has gone higher and higher with more people that I've met, and on the road, people I met in Georgia, the people I've met in Memphis, the people I've met in Arizona and Vegas and California that are friends of mine now, that we stay in touch. So many. There's so many that when I try to mention them, I even forget some, because it's just crazy, incredible. I didn't know this many people up until, even a year ago. I had some acquaintances and knew people in Boynton Beach and in Florida, but it's great to know people. It's great to mingle with people. It's just like people that are still working that, let's say you buy a Harley Davidson and you get involved and you go out on these rides and you meet other like-minded people that are doing the same thing. And it's great for your life. It really is, to have friends. And so that is an asset. That will do everything for your health and for your happiness in your life. It won't be just money and sitting around by yourself, or sitting in a house just watching TV all day, or the news, or harassing someone. That's not going to make you live longer or be happy. Happiness is sowing good seed and being love and kind towards other people. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you don't like somebody else, a politician, a YouTuber, or a person you meet on the street out driving your car that's got some issue with, like, he thinks or she thinks they own the road, then just let them go. Just move out of the way. Let them go. They're just going to be that way to the next person too. It's not you. These people that give people a hard time, they do it to everybody. So don't take it personal. Just ignore it, though. Don't let them, bring you down. You keep smiling, and you keep paying it forward, and you keep drinking really good coffee, like I'm doing, making your bacon and eggs, like I'm getting ready to do right now, and you keep being you. And why am I saying that? Because that's what you told me to do. And that's the best advice, the most honest advice, and the truest advice I've ever received. And you're 100% correct. And even the Bible talks about that. Just seek him first, sow good seed, and all these things shall come to you. You don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to be sad. You don't even have to be unhealthy. You can just have faith and hope. And the greatest of these is love, he says. So Before we get the breakfast going, I'll put this video up, and then we'll make another one. And I think we're probably going to do Crushing It for Christ this morning because I've been lagging a little bit, and no one's in here for me to disturb right now. Although I have complete carte blanche when Miss T gets back to go ahead and get up and make as much noise as I want. Well, maybe not as much noise as I want, but she has no issue. I was just trying to be respectful and didn't want to disturb her because she needs that beauty sleep. But I know a lot of you like the morning chat videos and talking, and so we're going to continue with doing that and also showing you around the area here. So please consider subscribing to the channel. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and now let's get to the next video. Crush it!